Injuries are a part of the game. We're definitely going to have to deal with them as we head into week 4, and they're going to flip the script on some of our fantasy rosters and the waiver wire as we get to gear up for this week's slate of games. And Mike Williams is out for the season with a torn ACL, and he's in one of the most prolific passing offenses in the NFL with the Chargers, Justin Herbert and company. And this is going to ravel up the passing offense here, make some changes, and we're going to have to take a look at this and make an investigation as we look at Quentin Johnston, the rookie wide receiver from TCU, who the Chargers drafted in the first round. Before we dig into news, the facts, the data, you do need to click that subscribe button. Stop missing out on this information. Stop missing out on these deep dives on these lesser known players off the waiver wire so you can make the best decisions for yourself for trades, waiver wire pickups, and setting those lineups. But let's dig in. Let's take a look at Quentin Johnston here. Mike Williams out for the season, torn ACL, not looking good, got hurt in yesterday's game, and that game was fireworks. There was a lot of passing, it was up and down, a lot of scoring in that game, fun game to watch, but Mike Williams out for the season, and we got to figure out who's going to be the next man up, or is it going to be a trickle down of targets going to multiple different players? But a lot of people are questioning about Quentin Johnston. We talked about him a lot this offseason as a mid-round flyer. If you wanted a rookie wide receiver, there was the other first-round rookie wide receivers going about a round or so ahead of him, and then it capped off a bit, and then people were drafting Quentin Johnston, and we saw highlight after highlight after highlight from training camp this offseason, him making big catches, him making plays downfield. But as we got into the season, as you can see down there, we have like 8 targets to his name and about a 25% snap share over 3 games, and has not been used much this season. As we saw Keenan Allen and Mike Williams dominate the target share in the offense, now Mike Williams is out. Will he get an elevated snap share and target share? Is that going to happen? We're going to have to wait and see, but we're going to dig into who he is. He was productive at TCU, had a big season last year, over 1,000 yards. 6 touchdowns, broke out though during his freshman year in 2020, had a large market share of the team's passing production, had over a 20% market share of the team's passing production throughout his career at TCU. He's a bigger bodied wide receiver, has a little bit of juice in his legs, can move downfield a little bit, and as you can see throughout his career, we have a decent ADOT there. 15.6 on his career, best season 18.7, 12.9 last year, where he got the most targets. So he can be used downfield as a big play receiver. He can also be used as a yak guy as well. 532 yards in yak last year, 8.9 yards after the catch per reception last year as well, 3.05 yards per route ran. So he's fairly efficient last year and was a big play receiver. He had that huge game against Oklahoma. It was a nightcap game a couple years ago. If you want to see what he's about as a big-time playmaker, go back and look at the highlights or even the full game of that one, because he blew up Oklahoma just a few years ago. That was a big play, big moment he had in his collegiate career. But looking at Quentin Johnston, the draft prospect, got drafted in the latter part of the first round, 6'3", 208 pounds. He's very comparable to Mike Williams, and it's highly likely he was drafted to be the successor to Mike Williams once he was done with his contract, and it was highly likely he was going to be the successor to Mike Williams due to some of the similarities in both these players' game. And looking at the athletic specs here from the combine, more than fast enough to get the job done. We have a good burst score, good size adjusted athleticism, college dominator rating, decent, about 60 percentile. College target share, 76th percentile, because he was the passing game at TCU. Breakout age 19, broke out as a freshman 2020, and that's per dominator and market share. Josh Doxson's his best comparable, and that's kind of scary there because there is a lot of similarities in the metrics from college production to athleticism to draft capital. There are a lot of similarities, almost eerie-like, but he also draws a lot of similarities to Mike Williams. Just a little bit different, though. They're different players, but they do have some similarities. Looking at the Chargers offense here, we're averaging 40.3 pass attempts per game. That's immaculate. That is awesome. for these wide receivers. That's a lot of opportunities for these wide receivers. Also, 73.9% catchable targets come from Justin Herbert. So that is good to see. We're getting volume and we're getting a high acuity of passes going their way. Nice catchable footballs. Deep ball rate, 36.4% from Justin Herbert. So we are slinging it downfield quite a bit. 332 air yards per game. So we are getting volume. We're getting balls chucked downfield. We're getting balls sprayed all over the place. Short, intermediate, deep. And that's good to see. So with Mike Williams out, we could see some volume going to the other ancillary wide receivers in this passing game. Going to the target shares here for the Chargers passing game. Keenan Allen's the alpha with a 33.1% target share, 96.5% route participation rate. Mike Williams, 22% target share is going to be gone. It's going to be out of there, and that's 23 routes per game. I'm expecting Josh Palmer to see a considerable bump up. We're going to do a whole video on him too, but I see him getting a big bump up because he had seen that prior with other injuries when it comes to Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. So he should be seeing more volume in this offense. A trendy pickup for this week nonetheless. He's had 11% target share right now with Mike Williams and Keenan Allen in the offense, but he's also running about 70% of the routes. Big increase there. We're going to bump it up to 80% guaranteed. It's going to be up there, somewhere around there. But Quentin Johnston, who we're looking at, could be a big play threat here next few weeks. Target share 6.8%. Not super high, but can we get in double-digit range? Can we push for 20%? We'll have to see. But you might be seeing him as a boundary wide receiver on the outside, seeing some opportunities, seeing more than 8 routes per game. But right now, not getting many opportunities. And then we got to look at Josh Palmer here. Because when Mike Williams is out, he's seeing 13 PPR points per game, getting volume. He's a guy you want to look at on waivers this week because he's very safe. Over the years, when these wide receivers have been out, he's been stepping up. He's been productive. We've started him in our fantasy lineups. Palmer is a safe get. Quentin Johnston, though, is more of a lottery ticket, more of an upside play, a lottery ticket that you stash. Different types of assets. This is more functional for your lineup. This one over here, a stash for the back end of your lineup to see what happens. This one here could go to the moon. This one here is going to give you something solid. You got Bitcoin, you got shitcoin, you got doggy coin, you got some dollar bills. You got some different stuff here. Look at this as 2 different assets for fantasy football. Which one do you want to invest in? Which one do you need the most? Do you need production now? Do you need to shoot for upside later? Because Quentin Johnston has a lot of upside. Josh Palmer can give you some production now and some upside. So that's something you may want to invest in. Another thing I want to talk about when it comes to Quentin Johnston is he's not a super nuanced wide receiver, not the greatest route runner, not the greatest separator, not the greatest hands catcher either. But there's some goods in his game. He can pull it away after the catch. He can be used downfield, strong hands. Best when served downfield, throwing them targets deep. That's when he's used best, and he has to be used in the best way for him to really make his mark at the NFL level, or this could not run well. And he's a wide receiver I look at and I see there's a lot of talent. He's a very talented player. However, this could also run bad because the nuances in his game aren't 100% finalized right now. Still developing, but still has some goods as well. So again, lottery ticket wide receiver here. Looking at the schedule, we got the Raiders next week, then a bye week, then the Cowboys and Chiefs. We got some barn burners, and then we got the Bears. You know, that's ugly. Jets, that might be ugly. And then we got the Lions. Things might be shaping up by then, and we got some big moments here. Another bout with the Chiefs, another bout with the Raiders. Some good big play moments here that could be on the horizon here for Quentin Johnston. And the thing about Quentin Johnston, it's not about the now. It's about down the road. He's a rookie. Rookies hit at random times. That's why they're lottery tickets. And you got to make a gamble somewhere at the back end of your roster. Is it a rookie wide receiver, or are you going to turn and burn running backs? What are you going to do? This could be your guy. He's not the most nuanced wide receiver, but he's got ways he can win on the field. And he's in a tremendous offense here that is slinging it 40 times per game, and is going to be in some matchups here where they're definitely going to have to push it 40 times or more in those games, which are going to be fun to watch, and he might be on the field a lot more here in the near future. You need him because you need that lottery ticket. He's a lottery ticket, and I explained that. You're getting him as a lottery ticket, not a right now player. You're getting a lottery ticket right here. We don't know what's going to happen. We know there's upside. We know there's downside. And we're investing in that, hoping he goes to the moon. You don't need him because you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. You'd rather get Palmer. You don't trust him. You're good at wide receiver. You'd rather turn and burn running backs. I like to turn and burn running backs off waivers. That's what I like to do. So I like to be set at wide receiver. I like to draft wide receiver heavy throughout the year. And then throughout the season, I'm turning and burning running backs off the waiver wire. That's how I like to play the game. But again, I understand we got to go after wide receivers too. We can't just let them sit there on waivers, and sometimes we need to pick them up. Some teams get decimated at wide receivers in fantasy, and you got to make some moves, and you got to make some investments too for the near future here in the next few weeks and months when some of these wide receivers get more opportunities than you realize. But that's Quentin Johnston. I look at him as a lottery ticket, as an upside play that could run bad, but could go to the moon as well. But we also have Josh Palmer there, more reliable, more steady. But what do you want from the waiver wire this week? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Catch you on the next video.